Okay, I'm going to do a short video on something that's come up with the Dark Eldar Codex that I hadn't realized until I sort of looked into it after a comment, and it does appear to be true. If you're really trying to stretch your points so that you can get, maybe a second Force Organ, or you're in a tournament that does something like use the Bay Area Open rules where you can take allies from your own codex. So that second Force Org slot, the allied one, or whatever you're trying to get out of it, you might want to just use as few points as you can in the sections that you don't want. And one of the issues is, the HQ slot. If you've already got what you want HQ-wise, you still need to have one. And the cheapest one that appears to be available is the Archon. But he's still a fair amount of points. So the interesting thing is, if you look at the Court of the Archon rules, they have a special block that says Retainers, and it says that for every Archon in your army, you can include one Court of the Archon as an HQ that doesn't take up any Force Org slots. But it does not say, as someone pointed out, that you need to have an Archon to take the Court. It just means the way it's written. It is exactly written. It allows you to take a Court, and then it would take up a Force Org slot. Now, I honestly think that its rule says intended. I don't think they intend that. I think they intend for you to be required to have an Archon. But, it is plainly written that, it says, it's plainly written that, one Archon equals one Court not taking up a Force Org slot, so it doesn't say that you can't take the Court on its own. So, why is this important? Because the Lhamaean costs 10 points, and the Court of the Archon is a unit size of 1 up to however many you want to put in it, I think 12, but, because of that, you can take a 10-point HQ. So just to make it clear, the reason this is important is the Archon, let's say he's running 60-some points. Whether you take upgrades or not, it's going to change that. But let's say you don't want him with upgrades and you wanted to take 1 or 2 troop units. If you're going to take Cabalites, they're 40-some points each. Also, depending on whether you take upgrades. If you take the Lhamaean, she's 10 points, plus Cabalites at 40 is 50 points. That's actually cheaper than the Archon alone. So if you're trying to really stretch points, because, I don't know, you want a bunch of Razorwing jet fighters, or you want to get an extra Parasite engine in or something, and you're trying to manipulate points, this is definitely an interesting option, the 10-point HQ. Now, the important thing to know is, she can't be your warlord if there are any other characters in the army. Now, if you have no characters at all, which is possible if you use this option, then anyone could be your warlord. You just don't get a warlord trait. But if you were to take something else that had the character's rule, then it would be the warlord. So even if you had an aberration or a Akathist or something, they would have to be the warlord if this was your sole Force Org. But it's an interesting option, it's an interesting thing to think about.